this day and age on Twitter and on message boards, everybody has a voice. And the Ohio State people are up in arms about SEC officials. SEC officials robbed us. SEC officials. SEC officials. I don't think for 1 minute that they were corrupt. And I just think that they maybe got some things wrong. And that's football. I've been watching it 25 years. Even with replay, things aren't going to be perfect. And it's unfortunate. I don't think they were corrupt, but these are some things that I think that would work to correct the situation. I think people on Twitter and on message boards looked at it and said the SEC had this mindset that Clemson would be an easier team for LSU to play. So let's do everything we can to help Clemson get into the championship game and play LSU. That theory works up until the point you realize Ohio State had the ball at the 20-yard line going in at the end of the game. And if they complete that pass, Ohio State's going to the national championship game. There's nothing that the SEC or their officials could have done about it. So that's kind of hollow to my way of thinking. If they really wanted to fix the game, Ohio State would have never been in that position. They would have flagged them into oblivion. They also buzzed down at the beginning of the game and got Garrett Wilson's play correct, where he soared over the defensive back and came down with a hand inbounds, and then his foot was out of bounds. And that only happened because the SEC replay official, with proper integrity, hit the button and buzzed down. Now people will say, well, Dobbins was running for a touchdown when they stopped the play. Well, we don't know that. I mean, they blew the whistle and everybody stopped playing, so it's hard to say. But they got the play right. I mean, you want it both ways. You want to say they screwed you, but when I point out to you that in that instance they had integrity and they buzzed down, you don't listen to that. So whatever. But my solution is you have 4 teams in this playoff this year from 4 different major conferences. Some years there's only 3 conferences represented when they get 2 in. So then there's 2 major conferences left out. Whatever the scenario is, in this season, how this should have been handled was they should have turned to the Pac-12 and said, give us your number 1 referee, back judge, line judge, blah, 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 blah. Give us your number 2, blah, 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 blah. This was an all-star SEC crew. This was not a crew that had worked together all season. I'll point that out. And I don't know that matters because they're all great at their jobs to where they can work with any other referee or umpire or whatever, or the other, whatever they call that other guy behind the play. Those 2 guys run the game basically. So my theory is you should never, under penalty of death, have a conference whose team is represented in the playoff calling another semifinal game, because that only brings about the appearance of impropriety. And this thing should be above reproach. And I think that they should have turned to the Pac-12 and done a mishmash of their 1s and 2s. They're 2 top-rated guys at every position. Send one of those groups to do the LSU game, send the other group to do the Ohio State game, and have the national supervisor of officials leaning in on the replay to get everything perfect as best as it could be. Then it's above reproach. It is above impropriety. There is no question about any motives that this SEC crew had. And I'm sick of hearing about that because I don't think they were corrupt. Not for 1 minute do I think they were corrupt. Not for 1 minute do I think that they were trying to put Clemson in that game over Ohio State. It's just the way it worked out. He saw that scoop and score play differently than everybody else. Terry McAuley came out against it. Bill Carollo came out against it. Gene Steratore came out against it. Anybody who's ever officiated a game came out against it. The one guy who mattered, he called it the other way. What are you going to do? I mean, that's just my feeling. So that's my soapbox. I think if they went to that type of approach to the officiating and put people who do not have any skin in the game in those positions, then there's one less thing for people to bitch about.
Yeah, it's a tremendous thought on your part. I think it makes total sense. I don't see any reason why that wouldn't.
We're 6 years into this and they've never thought of it.